How are you?
I'm doing well. How about yourself?
I'm doing great. The weekend is almost here. To start off, as I mentioned, we're chatting on behalf of Kill Cliff Fight Club. Tell us a little bit about your involvement with them, and tell us a little bit about Kill Cliff for those who may not know about it.
Yeah, I joined the team. Probably a couple years ago. We have a great team, a bunch of champions, a bunch of guys, that have been in the sport forever, like Robbie Lawler, Israel Adesanya, myself, and the list goes on. We when we got together, they're more than just kind of it's a sponsor, right? So what they are is they're clean energy. They have CBD drinks, one of my favorites, and getting to know these guys and going out and doing stuff for the military. They're huge on giving back, and they've given over $1 million to the Navy SEAL Foundation. And so we just clicked. I like to get involved in that kind of stuff, and they're a great group of people, and they've supported us. We support them, so it's a good fit.
Absolutely. Well, big fight coming up for you against Valentin Moldavsky. How has camp been so far, and what are your thoughts on him as an opponent?
Yeah, it's awesome. I'm going back to heavyweight. I was a 2-division champion, bouncing between light heavyweight and heavyweight, and I've been at light heavyweight, for a while. I ended up losing the light heavyweight belt, and they wanted me to go into light heavyweight tournament. When I really wanted to focus on heavyweight, but I was a team player and said, let's do it. I'm in for new opportunities. And so it's finally time for me to go back to the heavyweight division. So for me, being able to fuel my body throughout, training camp and eat what I need, to get through training camp to feel good for the fight, because I'm 235, I was cutting down to 205, so for me to go in there feeling good, healthy, where I need to be, it's exciting for me. Fighting a guy that has won the interim, title while I was gone down at 205. And so we're unifying these titles, a good Russian fighter, and should be, a great fight, great for the fans.
What stood out most about his performance against Tim Johnson?
He's just durable, and you can tell he's strong. He's pretty quick for a heavyweight, and Tim's a big guy, and he's very powerful. And I believe that was Moldavsky's first 5-round fight too, so he has been in those 5-round fights where, if you haven't been, it's a different look for sure. So he looked great. He did what he had to do and won those little positions where they accumulated over the fight and you end up winning the fight.
Absolutely. What was your reaction to Fedor's return against Tim Johnson? Were you surprised by how good he looked after the long layoff?
Yeah. Tim is a big guy, and he's unorthodox, right? And he throws punches from different angles. He'll blitz you. And I saw the highlights of that fight, and Fedor looks as fast as ever. And obviously he's always had power, right? And that's not something you really lose. But his speed really impressed me. He put a 3-punch combo, in a split second and knocked him out. And so I was very impressed by his fight.
Absolutely. Another big thing happening in Bellator this year is the bantamweight Grand Prix. How do you see that playing out?
Man, I don't know who all is in it yet, but these Grand Prix are awesome. That's, I came from the UFC, came over to Bellator, and I wanted to do different things. And so for me, those Grand Prix is refreshing, and so these guys get to go through that tournament style, and there's no politics involved. It's a tournament style format. So if you win, you move on, and if you make the finals and you make the belt, or you win the belt, I mean, you got it. There's no like, oh, this guy's more popular, this guy's more popular, we're gonna put him in a title shot. It's all what you do there in the cage, and so I love these tournaments, and those bantamweights are gonna have a good time.
Absolutely. A guy that's making the move from light heavyweight to heavyweight, just like you did, is Jon Jones. He seems to be taking his time with getting his body right for the move up in weight. Looking back on when you made the move, how do you think he'll do at heavyweight in the UFC?
Jon Jones will do well. He's definitely, he's a supreme athlete, and he's taking his time doing it right. The biggest thing for what I've seen for a lot of heavyweights is they're like, all right, I'm going heavyweight. And then they pack on all this weight and they don't train at that weight for, a long time at all. They're like, all right, here's a training camp. Let's put on 20 pounds of muscle or whatnot and go in there. And you're not used to fighting, carrying around that muscle. And a lot of them gas out. and they're not used to their new body. And so I think Jones will be used to his new body when he goes in there. I think he's like 250 or something now. And he's always going to be a problem, but I think he had size and everything on these 205ers. So that's kind of going to be negated. These heavyweights have power, they have size, and these new heavyweights coming up, are technical, so I'm very interested to see how he does at heavyweight.
Absolutely. A big UFC fight going on this week. What are your thoughts on the UFC heavyweight title fight between Francis Ngannou and Ciryl Gane?
Man, that's one of those fights, with Ngannou in there, you never know. Right. He has one punch ability times a million, and so I think Gane's a more technical fighter, obviously, and if he goes in there with a good game plan, stays on the outside, he can definitely beat Ngannou. But it's just one of those things where for him, it's one punch. He has devastating power, and it's one of those coin flips. I like to lean more towards a more technical guy and Gane, and I think he'll pull out a win, if he stays smart. But like I said, one punch knockout power is, he has it.
Definitely. What was it like when you first made the move to heavyweight? Was it a big adjustment for you?
So for when I went into that tournament, the first round of that Grand Prix, I fought King Mo, who was pretty much a light heavyweight, and so my real test was Matt Mitrione, a big guy, 255. He's fast, but overall he's just a big dude. And so at that point I was like, all right, I'm just as strong. I'm just as fast. I think my cardio is a lot better than a lot of these heavyweights. So that was a fight where I'm like, all right, I can come up to heavyweight and do this, because I always kind of played with it in my mind. How would I do at heavyweight? But that was kind of the turning point where I'm like, okay, I can be a good heavyweight. I can be the best heavyweight. Let's kind of pursue the heavyweight division.
Absolutely. Do you plan on going back to 205 in the future, or do you think staying at heavyweight is the best option for you right now?
Yeah, I mean, not right now. I don't see any reason to, like I said, a couple fights, I lost the 205-pound belt, and as much fun as it was being a two-division champion, it's a lot of work, and jumping between those two divisions and being a 205er and then being a heavyweight and jumping back and forth. It's not fun. And like I was saying earlier, you need time to get adjusted to your new body and this and that. If you put a lot of muscle on, or if you lose weight for that matter, and so, I don't see myself going back to 205 unless something really cool pops up, a cool opportunity, a good, a certain fight or whatnot. But as of right now, that kind of chapter is closed and I'm focused on the heavyweight division.
Final question for me. What's the key to getting your hand raised next weekend?
Just putting it all together, fighting like I know I can fight, fighting like a 205 pounder, going in there, pushing the pace and making it a fight that, he hasn't been in and doesn't want to be in, that if that's grinding, taking him down, mixing up my strikes and keeping him guessing the whole time. That'll be, the keys to the victory. And, for me, going out there and winning, that second, that minute, that round, that all adds up. And so if I keep that mindset of like every scramble I'm going to win, any time we're on the fence, any striking exchange, all that adds up to a victory.
Before we wrap things up, feel free to shout out your sponsors, including Kill Cliff, and let the fans know where they can find you on social media.
Yeah, you can find me at Ryan Bader pretty much everywhere. And thank you to Kill Cliff. They've been amazing to work with. They support us. They support, our military and do a lot of great things in the sport and outside the sport.